I think the trick is living in the moment. Life is beautiful when you live in the moment. Like I wake up this morning and I'm like, okay, so what does today have for me? All right, I have to go and do an interview, share a story about my life, but then drop off my kid at the groomers but just like be in the moment, you know. I'm not, and also I've learned that if I don't live in the moment, I can get overwhelmed because I do a whole lot of things. And if I look at them holistically, it's overwhelming. So for me, just moments. Like live in the moment. What am I doing today? What am I doing this week? What am I doing this month? Okay, this is what I need to do this month. Perfect. This week, okay, I see it. Today, perfect. And anything else that I can't do, no, it's okay. It's all right. But just, I'm just a girl that loves to cook.
Yes.
Like I enjoy cooking. I love making people happy with, putting beautiful meals on a plate.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
Listen, I'm so excited that the timing is now because it just worked out so perfectly that Ready Steady Cook is starting.
Right.
And I was even trying to remember, when did we meet each other in this business? I don't even remember.
It's such a long time ago, but for me, the highlight was when I was in Dubai filming for Food Network. Yes. Listen, you made such an impression. Every single person, do you know Relebogile? Oh my gosh, she's amazing. Like, they are so obsessed with you.
Oh, that was when I was the ambassador of Real Time, the channel on DSTV.
Yeah.
So we shot everything
in
Dubai.
Yeah.
What an amazing team.
I know.
And it was, I couldn't even get to spend enough time there because I had just started a new radio show.
Oh no.
At Metro.
Oh no.
So it was like my second week.
Ouch.
So I literally did it in and out
No ways.
of Dubai. My goodness.
Well, I was lucky. I was there for a whole month. For 2 years in a row.
And they look after you, hey?
100%.
So before you became Chef Nti, you had a whole other life prior, and it's so amazing how overnight success really is years and years and years in the making, right? Because people can look at you now and be like, babes, you've got TV shows, more than one.
Yeah.
You're on this show, you're on DSTV, plus you're on SABC.
Yeah.
Now you've got a restaurant, you just opened one in Abuja.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
Yay, it was real. I mean, my journey started, I've always been an entrepreneur. I started 2007.
Yes.
And I built to a point where I ended up with 3 retail stores. I had a facilities management business, naked cleaner, and as a general maintenance of government buildings in town. 2013, everything went south.
So wait, before we even get to, because I think that's such a pivotal part of your story, I really want everybody to understand the build you had done to that point, right? So when you were younger, what were you imagining you wanted to do with your life? Because there's this creative side to you.
Yes.
There's an entrepreneur to you.
Yes.
But it wasn't always just at the beginning food.
100%.
It wasn't your life at the beginning.
No, it was always fashion. I mean, I remember Mama Kanar, Mama Rata, because she'd buy me new clothes and then I'd cut out the arms and make matching clothes for my dolls.
Oh,
so I was always a designer, not just from
Yes.
being a kid. So I've always loved fashion, and hence I went that direction. When I started being an entrepreneur, I love fashion. I love looking good. I love just expressing myself, you know. But then the side of being an entrepreneur, I get that from my mom. Yeah, so I've always tried to find something to do around me.
Did she ever give you an impression or share with you what you failing means? Or was it just related to the report card? Because every time as kids, when you learn the word fail or failsy, yesterday we were talking about report cards and somebody was like, they wrote promoted and they didn't write passed. And she didn't understand, but she was upset, and they're trying to be like, no, you're moving forward. No, but just say ke phasi.
Not promoted.
So
Yeah.
what did you believe failing was at that point if you were already quite free?
So to be honest with you, for me, I identified with failing in my late 20s. I've always been that child. I was always an overachiever, doing well in class. And I mean, it wasn't, I don't remember like just that I identified with lack more than failing, if that makes sense. You know?
So are you saying that the idea, you didn't necessarily connect to the idea of failing because you were already doing well at all the things that were expected of a child?
Correct.
Okay, so lack, do you mean finances, resources at home?
Resources at home, obviously, because when you look at your peers and you can see or no, they have more and I don't. I want to do this, but we can't because, we are limited financially. But otherwise, I've always just been encouraged to do stuff, like try it. Yeah.
We were chatting earlier with our guest here for the food feature, and Thando Ngwenyama, who's the CEO of Hangover Boksburg. But the best part of his story that everybody was relating to is before he got to a point where he had his own restaurant and setup, he had tried the toilet business. He had tried the ice, and he's like, too much work, not enough money, too much work.
Yeah.
Did you go through that period when you came out of school of because it's not like you didn't know what you love, but it's about how do you make the things you love pay your bills?
Yeah. So for me, my thing was I always tried to pay bills because we did not have enough. So straight from high school, I entered a beauty pageant, go taking say. I won, and then I went to the dean's office, as opposed to a prize. I do need the money, so they gave me a job, and worked my way.
Admin.
It was tough. Like my friends would be going out having fun. Now I'm busy there filing piles and piles of papers. But I feel like those moments groomed me and they shaped me to learn the value of hard work. So I was always working hard. Like I've never known how to do one thing. Like straight from school, I was in school and working.
Yes.
And even when I was working and then doing something on the side. Like either ke a rekisa something nyana, ne ke etsa le manala. I remember when I was in tertiary, I taught myself. Or actually, I'm lying, I didn't teach myself. I went to do this short course, like a month, learned how to do nails, and then ne ke ra different zaka manala for pocket money.
So even your side hustles had side hustles. The upside of failure. We're chatting to Chef Nti. She is a renowned South African celebrity chef, a cookbook author, culinary icon of the year for 2021. She's a restaurateur, an entrepreneur. Now we found out she's done nails. She does admini.
Yay!
I love the early part of your story. I'm wondering, because you do get people who are born with that drive, right?
Yeah.
What was the main motivator of your drive? Was it seeing that at home, things could be better?
Yeah.
Was that the big motivator? Was it the motivator to say, the world is going to know me? What was the thing that was your biggest drive?
So my thing was, I always knew that there was more to life than what Soweto had to offer. And I remember growing up and I would look around and see like 18-year-olds sitting and and then, I remember even my cousin, but she went on to be a doctor. She's very successful now, but she had a child very young at 16. And I'd look around and think, no, I don't want this for myself. I want to work hard. I want to learn how to make money, like find ways to earn an income.
And I think I'm glad you're mentioning what you did, because sometimes things that happen in life look like the end of the world. Yeah. You would think, this young woman has 2 children and she's just turned 18. Yeah. It's over for her, but really anything is possible.
100%.
So when you came out of school and you now were doing your gig of admin, sacrificing being a young person, you were taking a course here, a course there. when did food even begin to enter the picture? And I'm not even talking about it being something you've monetized.
Yeah.
I mean, you connecting with being good at it.
So that has always been part of my life, actually,
Yeah.
for as long as I could remember. I mean, as Black families,
Yes.
I remember as young as 13, I was already in the kitchen.
Yes.
And I'm helping out my brothers when it's their birthdays. I'm making them Spider-Man cakes.
Wow.
And we had chores. So it was my sister and I growing up. So I don't like laundry. Nane gape.
Yes.
And I hope my sister's not listening because she won't like this. But when it was her turn to cook, my mom would always say, because the food
you should have said if you didn't want to cook because if the food is not
too salty or
I love how our Black parents like to say, just say you don't want to. Maybe the person doesn't have that skill,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it was always a part of
100%
your life.
100%. I've always cooked, like for as long as I could remember. That friend that you call when you're in my neighborhood, friend, are you home? Because there's something in the fridge or something on the stove. Like cooking for me it's like therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a love expression. I love making people happy with food.
So now we fast forward to from you being fresh out of school.
Yes.
You're trying all these business things. You're at a point, like you say, you had a cleaning company.
Yes.
And contrary to what some people think how if you had a government tender, you were rich.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually work
Yeah.
like that in real life
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
What happened that you now lost everything? And share with us where had you built your life to be by that point?
Okay. So by 2011, I had 3 retail stores, one Melrose Arch. I moved in Melrose Arch 2019. I was one of the first Black tenants there.
Wow.
The
And
new section.
The store was selling
Clothing,
yes.
yes. So I used to import clothing
Yes.
from Italy and Turkey. And then that was like my side hustle, like a passion
Yes.
project. But every day, Monday to Friday, I would do the cleaning business.
Yes.
And there I was cleaning government buildings. I remember this one tender, I did it for like 7 years.
Yes.
But as you know, with government projects, when there's new leadership that comes in, they come in with their own people.
Not just that, there's admin and paying on time. It's not sustainable. It's not something that will keep you. Yeah.
At all. But for me, I just didn't like the fact that then when there's a new MEC,
Yes.
then you are that outgoing MEC's person, therefore we
Yes.
can't work with you.
Yes.
So around the time, then contracts were cancelled. My retail business was subsidized by my cleaning business, to be honest. And
Because the rent in those buildings like Narrows Arch, very expensive.
I mean, 2009, I was paying 80K
What?
at Melrose Arch. Yeah, I know. I had a house in Hyde Park.
Yes.
I was driving around town in a Porsche Cayenne. I had a Jaguar X-Type with a driver.
Yes.
Like, life was beautiful, you know?
Yes.
Like in my 20s, late 20s, girl, doing your thing. And when the cleaning business closed, the retail business wasn't doing well. So I had to close that because it was really just hanging on by the thread. So I decided to close everything and start over. And
How did you make that decision? Like, because there are many people who find their businesses in financial trouble.
yeah,
But what is the thing? Because it's not always the financial trouble that makes a person say, I'm shutting this down. Maybe they'll say, in the meantime, let me look for something, go corporate till something comes. You know what I mean?
for me, it was painful. Like, I remember listening to Pastor Tity Jake saying, like, when holding on feels like now your arms are bleeding. Like, I was trying so hard to just, like, everything was just, there was just gaps everywhere. There was fires coming off everywhere. I had summons from all corners because remember, the retail business wasn't making money, so I wasn't paying my rent. And when you are behind now 3 months, that's almost 300K. Just
My
the one
goodness.
store. Just the one
Yo.
store. Yeah. And I mean, I wish I had better mentors when I was younger because I don't think in hindsight, looking back, I wouldn't have invested that much into retail. But
Because the ROI was fully dependent on this other thing. It wasn't a business that could stand on its own.
100%. But then, I mean, I gamble. I think that's my personality.
Yes.
You know, I like to take gambles like that. I just opened in Abuja.
Listen, we're gonna get to that one because I'm like, the first thing I said to Nti when she sat down, I said, "You opened in Abuja. You are a brave girl.
Yeah, I'm a brave girl.
You're
That
a brave
much
girl.
I've learned about myself. So it was becoming too painful. Like I was in so much pain. I was depressed. I would walk into Melrose Arch, and the minute I walk in, I'd feel like this deep thing in my stomach. My heart would sink because I look at the store the whole day, no one has walked in. It's the 18th and I'm already thinking, oh my gosh, the overheads and the salaries, what am I going to do? And I had one mentor and they said to me, Nti, close up everything, man. You know, don't identify with what you do. You have built all of this. You can build again. And for me, the painful part was I built from scratch, you know. I didn't tell you when I started Go Technical SA, my mom only gave me money to register.
Yes,
I
the
had
rest.
to pay. Yes. So for me, it was so painful just letting go. But I did eventually. I let go. Most difficult year, 2013. Most difficult year, like painful, and you know, you look at yourself as a failure. You're like, oh my gosh, everything that I've worked so hard for.
The reason I'm so happy you're sharing this is because there are many people who are in that position right now, right? I've been in that position and not necessarily at that scale, but the position where you look back and you realize you could have salvaged things if you let go sooner, right? So I'm just wondering, you know, you're speaking a lot about the pain and I can connect it completely where your identity is your success, right? The things you can show you've worked for. What was the hardest thing you had to learn about yourself in a moment of, okay, I have a store at Melrose. I have this. I have a
house in
cleaning.
Hyde
I have a house in
Park.
Hyde Park. I don't have the Porsche, right?
Yeah.
What was the hardest part? Because I think it goes deeper than, oh, did you see Ntabi saying Asa drive a Porsche?
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. But I don't know if you are able to articulate what it was, because there are people who are sitting at home right now holding on to businesses, holding on to staff, holding on to houses, holding on to cars they can no longer afford. And it's not just about the money. There's something within a person. Was it adequacy? Was it the affirmation?
For me, I actually had the same moment yesterday when I like to reflect. I got to a moment where I realized I'm fighting for everyone but me, because every time I get money, I'm just trying to take care of salaries, pay bills, do this and do the other. But I'm still in pain and I'm hurting because all of this is not working out. So when I took a moment to look after myself and prioritize me, that's when I let go. You know, where I thought, but okay, Nti, what feels right for you? This is painful. Why are you doing this? Let go of the house. It's okay. Go rent. Like, sell the Porsche. It's okay. Like,
were you worried about what people would think, and not
Of
just people
course.
as in strangers, also like your mom,
everyone. Oh, my mom was hurt, like looking into her eyes. She would look at me with eyes like she wants to cry all the time. And that would break my heart. Atlanti, are you okay? Are you sure? And then she'd come with just like, you know, bags of groceries, 2 bags of groceries, whatever she can. Because there was a point where I would have to navigate 50 rands a month. From being a high flyer, you know?
Yes.
But I found that when I let go, that's when I found myself. In fact, for me, that part of my life feels like 6 o'clock in the morning in winter when you're taking a walk. I love to walk. It's so crisp. Like, it is so crisp. It's so clear. Like, there is no noise at all, because what matters is what you are focusing on. Everything else is noise.
And I'm sure in that time, and we'll talk more about it when we come back from the news, people you thought were your friends
Oh, of course.
disappeared.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Everyone, like, they left. I would get calls because I put on Facebook that I closed the store, and I'll get calls from people I didn't speak to for 7 years. Nti, we want to come in and shop, just so they could hear it from me.
That the shop
is closed. Like, people would torment you. like you see, it's sad, but it's also it's good. It's necessary. Like, I don't wish that for anyone, but I wish that people are open to go through it. Like, open to hardship. Like, go through it. It's okay. Because there's something on the other side. I mean, look at me today.
We were talking about how you had to let go of everything.
Yes.
And we were just saying off air, because we've both had those moments in our lives, except mine didn't have Porsches. Can I just put it out? And houses in Hyde Park, right? But I it's so, how do I put it? If somebody, when I was going through it, had said to me, please know this might be the best thing that's ever happened to you, I wouldn't have believed them, right?
True.
And had somebody come to you and said the same thing, even if they gave you the lessons you learned after the fact, you wouldn't have believed them.
No.
So I want you to try articulate as best you can what that opportunity gave you, because it looks like a loss, it looks like a failure, but it actually was an opportunity, because I really want people to be encouraged to know anything can happen. And the anything is also good stuff. We mustn't just think about, oh, I need insurance for my car to this. What about what if you get a blessing? What if a miracle happens?
Yeah. I think what my takeout from that experience is that change is the only constant. Anything can happen, and you're not a tree, you're not rooted there. Be ready. If you have to change and move. It's okay. And not to identify with what you do. So as a result, I mean, I work as Chef Nti, but I forget. Like, I'd be working at a mall, Chef Nti, like, because that experience has taught me to be so close to me. Nti wako Soweto, like the girl that grew up in the township. I don't identify with what I do. The experience has given me strength of character. Like, nothing, I'm not easily phased, like moved. It's okay. I mean, you do need challenges, because you come out a better person. Like, you get pruned.
But how do you do it? Because what you're saying is so powerful. I'm still working on it. What you said about what I do is not my identity.
Yeah.
And I find when people are hit with whatever circumstances where they can't do what they do, right, for whatever reason, you feel like you don't exist anymore, like your life is over. So how have you separated? Because many people identify, and it doesn't just apply to careers, with mother.
Yeah.
Now they don't know anything. When their children are out the house,
I've seen
they
it.
fall into
True.
depression.
I've
So
seen it.
how do you separate the things you do, the roles you play, from who you are? Because all those things should be able to fall away, and you should still be standing.
I think the trick is living in the moment. Life is beautiful when you live in the moment. Like, I wake up this morning and I'm like, okay, so what does today have for me? All right, I have to go and do an interview, share a story about my life, but then drop off my kid at the groomers, but just like be in the moment, I'm not, and also I've learned that if I don't live in the moment, I can get overwhelmed, because I do a whole lot of things. And if I look at them holistically, it's overwhelming. So for me, just moments. Like, live in the moment. What am I doing today? What am I doing this week? What am I doing this month? Okay, this is what I need to do this month. Perfect. This week, okay, I see it. Today, perfect. And anything else that I can't do, no, it's okay. It's all right. But just, I'm just a girl that loves to cook.
Yes.
Like, I enjoy cooking. I love making people happy with, putting beautiful meals on a plate.
So what was the thing that brought you back? You already knew you love cooking. Who planted the seed to say, why don't you try do this as a thing?
So I was lucky enough in that when I started, even as in my previous life as an entrepreneur, I always focus on doing things that give me joy.
Yes.
So when everything closed, then my thinking was, what is it that I can do again that doesn't feel like working? Because from where I come from, I learned from looking at my parents that this whole waking up every morning and going to work thing is going to be forever, you know?
Yeah.
So you better find something you enjoy. So when I closed everything else, I remember thinking, what else can I do? Like, what do I really like? And food was the only thing left.
Oh.
I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this works because, you know, like food was the only thing left. So it was an intentional like decision for me to go into food and monetize my love for food.
And I think it's so beautiful how you have found your style, your taste, excuse the pun.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, how do you find the bravery? You know, you said you like to gamble and take risks.
Yeah.
You've just opened a restaurant in Abuja,
Yeah.
which is in itself, any region that you're not living in becomes unfamiliar territory.
Yeah.
How do you even get the guts to do that? Because is it because you've lost it all before, so it's okay if it doesn't work out? Or is it like, well, I'm not going to know if I don't try? Like, what is that thing that keeps you like, let's just go for it?
So my thing is, every time I think of a new thing to do, I'm like, what if it works out? Like, I'd rather regret something I tried than something I did not try. I'm very passionate about, you know, sharing our story as Africans. You know, food speaks to our heritage, it speaks to our culture.
Yes.
And I love just the whole thing of Ubuntu and learning about other African cultures. I've been working in Nigeria since 2016.
Really?
Yeah, I've placed chefs there. I've consulted at different restaurants. Like every year, I'm in Nigeria, either Lagos or Abuja. So this particular client I've been working with since 2018. They were opening a new hotel, and I thought, listen, guys, please give me the restaurant at your hotel. Let's do something. Man, what if it works?
Yes.
Hard though, very hard. Like I had a moment last night where I was thinking to myself, like, Nti, you know, we all have a child in us. Like, you are very harsh to me because, like, in the month I was in Abuja, I was on my feet 16 hours a day. My feet were so thick. Like, I came back, I had to do a lot of self-care. And I remember thinking, no, but it's not fair, you know, even if you're going after your dream. Like, this is the child in me.
Yes.
But still nurture me. Like, give me self-love. Because if you're not looking out for me, who's going to look out for me?
Yes.
So there's that. But look, I went to Abuja because what if it works out?
I love that. I'm going to start
Yeah.
saying, what if it works out? Talk to me about your fibroids journey and what, not so much how you've suffered, but what you are learning from, as my therapist would say to me, why do you think your body is, in inverted commas, unhappy with you at that particular place in your reproductive organs, in a place that gives life?
Hey, that's deep.
Isn't
hey?
it deep?
Yo.
But the way my therapist is like, okay, forget what the guy said. Let's talk about what is your body asking of you?
I think my body is asking for a bit of love, a bit of attention. You know, the downside to being an entrepreneur and just working hard is that you neglect yourself. You know, and I started a journey last year. I'm trying to be vegan, and that is because of that. Because even issues like fibroids, high blood pressure, diabetes, all of that can be corrected with just lifestyle and eating correctly. So I got to a place in my life last year where I had to stop and look after myself. But I love that question, and I'm going to think more on it because
Look,
it's
I
so
know
deep.
I threw such
Yeah,
and to clarify to everybody, I'm not in any way implying that anything is self-inflicted, because there are different things you're going through. But the way my psychologist asked me, because I've also been battling with fibroids for years, and I've spoken about it publicly and how it affected my pregnancy. But when he asked that of me, hence I'm asking it of you that way, it really forced me to have a think about where the body connects with how we look after ourselves. Because they'll say sometimes a headache just means drink water.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So when he posed that of me, I really had to take a moment. He's like, your uterus that's your life-giving. Life-giving, but it's problems. You've operated its problem. You need to ask yourself what your body's crying for.
100%. I know I'm very guilty of not nurturing when it comes to me. And I had to stop, because how do you express love on a plate when you give from a place of no love for yourself? So I had to, I'm in a place where I'm treating myself soft. I'm kind to myself. I do all sorts of things that make me feel nurtured, because I was never intentional about it. And as a result, very neglectful. And hence, even with my journey with fibroids, I feel like I could have handled it differently and better. But because I was busy and life was happening and
Ooh,
not true.
Listen.
Yeah, no.
And I think what I have learned, and it's I'm almost 40, and the lesson's only happening now. They say, sometimes go to the doctor and sort things out when they're not an emergency, because your body will force you to rest.
Thank you.
And then when it does, it's going to be shut down city.
Now it's a crisis.
Right?
Yeah.
And I recall, because even the thing of when my gynae had said to me, let's just go cut these things out. They're giving you too many problems. And I said, I'm busy.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean?
No, that
I said,
was me.
no, but in our business, we need to be working to be earning.
I can't have 4 weeks off.
Right?
No, in bed.
Hey, when I was there, it was emergency room.
Yay.
When you go back.
Yay.
It's like, remember when I said,
Yeah.
So taking all of that and knowing what a fierce entrepreneur and a worker you are, and being in a kitchen is not child's play.
At all.
Especially now, being in a kitchen for TV is a whole different ballgame. People don't know the things that need to happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently that you are seeing? We all are suffering from it. It's not just unique to us.
Yeah.
For what's fibroids for us, as many other things for other
others,
people.
yeah.
What are you learning from all of this that can still keep you successful? Because, yes, you still want the Porsche. You want to have the option to have the Porsche.
Yeah.
You want to have the option to do this with your business. You still want those options. Where's that balance?
So for me, the Porsche now has moved to a healthy body. I feel good when I'm taking care of myself and I'm feeding myself good food. So I make sure that I focus on high fiber. I, just eat the stuff that nourishes. So I use food as medicine. I'm very intentional about what I eat. I'm intentional about walking. I'm not crazy on exercising. I do boxing from time to time, but I walk, I'm always thinking, this is the only vehicle that you have. This is the body that you have to carry you through life. And once you hit 40, your body also reminds you, or a girl, listen.
This is decade number 4.
Pushed me. Yeah,
yes.
you pushed me, but there are limits to this thing. So my thing now is just loving on myself. And I do that by feeding myself good food, making sure the lifestyle is good. And I'm intentional about what I feed myself. I don't even watch news because I find that, just
it gets
taking
depressing.
it off very much. Yeah. So just from news, and I don't feed myself things like that, even with food. Junk food. If I feel like a chocolate, I feel like a burger, I go ahead and have it, guys.
But you have a good burger.
I have a good burger. That is
Yes.
true. Yeah. So I'm trying to be a vegan. I call myself a flexitarian at
Yes.
this point. But at least I know the goal is to
Eventually get there.
yes.
We've got some voice notes, 0727021702.
Hi, Lebo. Chef Nti, she's she's very amazing. Just one request from her. Can she just borrow my wife her eyes just for a day or two as a bliff toch? She's got beautiful eyes.
Oh, that's sweet.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. This has been one of the ultimate percent of failure. It is so close to my heart. Please tell Chef Nti, thanks for just sharing her story. I am now motivated that for whatever situation that is happening in my life right now, This will pass. Thank you so much. Love it, love it, love it.
Oh, and then another one saying, good afternoon, Chef Nti. Thank you for the chat. It's lovely. You're being great ambassadors for healthy living. Of late, non-communicable diseases are on the rise, affecting young people. That's from Dr. Philemon Mahuma, who is a regular listener of ours. What have you learned about failure? I mean, you have, because I love also that you're saying you're trying to be vegan, but you're not seeing yourself not being there yet as a failure.
Yeah.
You still know you're working towards something.
Yeah. So I know to be kind to myself. I'm on a journey to being vegan. I know it's not easy. I know that I'm an emotional being. I wake up and I'm PMSing. And I feel like chocolates.
Yes.
And I feel like nyama.
Yes.
And I'm going to go ahead and have that nyama.
Yes.
Because please, you live once. But then the thing is, if I'm good 80% of the time, then that's okay, you know. The most important thing is knowledge. So feed yourself with as much information, as much knowledge. I mean, you don't understand the difference like eating right has done to my mother's life, to my stepdad's life. So like most of our communities, most of our problems we can fix with just eating right. Let's go back to how our ancestors used to eat. Growing up, we would walk out of the house, khunani, spinachy, like we had vegetable gardens, would go and pick stuff. But now because you have money, for breakfast you've got processed meat, fish, this and the other. For dinner you've got 3 proteins. For lunch you also have protein. You don't need all of that, guys. Your body really doesn't need all of that. Most of our food comes in boxes, you know. So I'm intentional about eating from the soil. I know also because I work as a chef, it's difficult, and I'm okay with it. I'm good. I'm good if I'm not winning.
There's a SMS that says, food as medicine, she's got her head screwed on right. And another one, hey Chef Nti, this is Rod, your former classmate. Big ups to what you are doing.
Oh, hey Rod. I remember Rod. We're in culinary school together. So we're all a group of people.
And I think it's great that you even mentioned that, because the part of your journey we didn't get into was that you did go back
Went to school full
so
time.
It wasn't just, I want to cook, and then you just went in and do it. And yes, there are people who are able to do that, but you come with the classical knowledge and training and understanding.
100%. I believe in everything that you do. Just invest, invest and do it right. You owe it to yourself.
What have you learned about failure that you can share with everybody?
Failure is necessary. Like, you need it. It just gives you strength of character. It makes you see things clearer. It makes you see people clearer. Go through it. It's not permanent. The only thing, I say this to my mom, I wish when we were kids, you, as part of like the teachings, you tell us it's part of life. Like, challenges are there, guys, but as human beings, you only want happy moments. It's okay. Like, it is okay. You're going to cry tomorrow. I'm going to fail. I know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the fact that things won't work out the way I want them to all the time. And I know that it has nothing to do with me. So the detaching of myself from my life experiences makes it easy for me to embrace failure. So I can fail, but it's not me.
Yes,
it is. It's not me.
It isn't the essence of who you
I
are.
am,
Chef Nti, you can find her on Instagram, chef_Nti, and all of the socials to follow her work and see all the amazing things that she's doing. Ready, Steady, Cook is where you'll be able to see her as well. But head over to the Food Network. Her show is on repeat. Her cookbook is in stores. You are just such, I don't have words for you.
Aww.
My heart, every time I see you, I smile. You are such a beautiful soul and spirit. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me. Like, I've always watched your show. Like, when you invited me, I was like, yeah.
I got the invite and she came through.
Yes.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.